Hello, hello, hello. Your favorite basement dwellers doth returneth
Yes,
on
indeed.
Basement Brothers Podcast. We're on episode number 7, Mr. Mo Money. We're flying without wings.
Yeah, well, we won't get too far, but yeah,
We will get just as far as the nearest snack counter in the basement we live within.
there you go. Sounds about right to me. Let's welcome everybody to the show and get this thing going.
Yes. Everybody has childhood memories. For me, some of the best are watching crazy action films featuring people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, people like Sylvester Stallone, the living human vampire, Steven Seagal, and a man that's approaching quickly to 100, Mr. Chuck Norris.
With the toupee and all. That's got to be a toupee.
The
It's a
best, the
rug.
best looking wig of the day goes to Chuck on this one. Uh,
I, I always get some strong competition from Seagal, though.
I've always wondered if Seagal just literally went and took Eddie Munster's, top of his head and sewed it onto his skull because that's what it's starting to look like.
Bro, nobody's hairline is that perfect. Not even after a haircut. Like it's just too perfect. No.
Dude, isn't it not crazy to think? Because in my memory, and granted, my memory is getting worse because I'm getting older too. But it seems like literally a couple of weeks ago, I was watching movies like The Specialist
Mhm.
or Steven Seagal is Hard to Kill.
Yes, indeed.
We're literally talking about films now that are approaching 30, 35 years old at this time. And these guys, when they were in those movies, were some cases in their early 40s to late 40s.
Wow.
It's so crazy to think that when these guys were in their biggest heyday career, when everything was really hitting for them, these guys were approaching 50 years old in some cases.
It's hard to believe.
Doesn't seem real.
No. Neither is that comb over on Chuck Norris's scalp.
Chuck Norris. See, this is what the color of the animal actually looked to start with before it got to Seagal, and then when they dyed it with black 2.0, where it was void of any actual color.
Man.
And then Stallone too has also had a bizarre wig for years that it's looked better in some films, but in other films it's just clearly something that they glued to the top of his head. But I mean, these guys are pushing 80 now.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at Arnold, and Arnold looks as natural as any of them. He looks probably the most natural. It looks like that's probably his hair. I'm sure that's dye because the top of his hair is probably just as frosty as the chin and the mustache. So, but
Yeah,
he
Arnold
looks
by
natural.
completely. And Arnold, I agree with you. I think Arnold by far is the one that's been the most naturally aged, and he's not scared to show age. I mean, he'll throw some hair dye in when he's doing a film role, which makes sense because you got to make it look a little more believable or whatever. But yeah, his hair is real. He doesn't walk around with a lot of. He doesn't look like he's had a lot of bad like Botox and all these surgeries these guys get. Stallone looks like he literally been shooting him up for 20 years with something in a back alley somewhere to puff
Hey
up his cheeks.
yo,
Yeah. Hey, what we gonna do? Hey, Paulie, you gonna check it? Boom.
Adrian. But
uh,
I think the more supernatural looking or the most supernatural looking of them all is Steven Seagal. He literally has pitch black, almost charcoal black hair, top to bottom. Freaking impossible. The guy's got to be pushing 270 years old. There's no way he's walking around without any gray hair. Come on.
his hair, if you were to shoot him into space, his hair would actually open up a time-space rift that would suck all planets inside within it. Nothing can escape it, and
Oh
nothing will
my
come from within it.
goodness.
It's
He's a
literally
national
unhuman at
treasure.
this point.
He's a
Natural.
national treasure. God
But
bless him.
yeah, I mean, just watching these guys approaching 77, 76, I believe Stallone and Schwarzenegger are around 76, 77 years old.
Mhm,
Chuck, I believe, is in his early to mid 80s right now.
mhm.
Seagal as well, almost 80 years old. It doesn't seem real to me, but I guess it just goes with the territory. As we get older, so do our heroes.
Yeah, yes. You live long enough, you'll live to see yourself old. And the people that you grew up with are aging as well. I saw a video or maybe it was a photo of the immortal, the icon, Hulk Hogan, and
Oh
his
yeah.
I believe his wife's like 40 or 45 or something
Yeah,
like that.
Sky Daily. And she looks great, man.
Oh, she
Wow.
looks great.
He's got
And the
himself a nice
Hulkster.
little nice little mamacita there.
Oh yeah, and the Hawks is like 70, and it's like, oh my god, and like he's got like that leathery looking skin where it kind of just flaps and flabs, but like I'm like, that's the Hulkster, man. Come on.
I agree, man, and you know he's in great shape, but yeah, you could tell that he's weathered some storms.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely not in shape to be on the beach or to have a beach bod, and that's a segue into our next segment or next part of our segment. And in our previous episode, we were talking about uh, beach weekend and spring break and Florida beaches, and this kind of ties into that a little bit. Check it out.
Come back. You're gonna get hey. Hey, we got a fight over there.
Oh wow. It looks like.
You didn't get there at the beach in South Florida without a gun or a fight. There's a gun.
Oh, drop the fucking gun! Hey, drop the fucking gun! Drop the
Not a
fucking
smart
gun,
idea.
No.
Wow, that kid's stupid.
Now
he's gonna run.
Like, this is making me dizzy, but like I'm noticing that the kid is like no longer in the frame. The kid's out of there.
Yeah.
Dude, he's faster. That cop's just slow as shit.
A little bastard can run.
Yeah.
Go to your car.
Runs into ocean to escape deputies.
Go to Tower 409. 409. Tower 409.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, where does he think he's going? Like, why run at that point? What are you going to do? Go out there and swim with Flipper?
You know what? I think he just panicked, and that was what came to his mind. But like, this is kind of par for the course in South Florida these days, where you got young people who are afraid to take an ass whooping, JD. And clearly there was a fight, or he was about to get into a fight, and he decides he's going to pull a gun. And what he didn't realize is that there were cops everywhere. So his recourse was to take off running, and when he felt like he couldn't escape on the sand, he decided to take his talents to the water. So
it's like it reminds me of the movie Point Break. You ever see that one with Keanu Reeves and God, I can't think of his name now, but he's a famous actor. Patrick Swayze. Patrick Swayze. Yes.
Yeah.
The scene where basically at the end he's like, well, I got my man, and he's like, no, he didn't. He's not coming back, and he goes out basically to die, drowned in the ocean and catch those waves. It reminds me of this. It's like, what is he going to do? Swim to the Asian Pacific Islands?
Well, I'm looking at those, we don't get like big waves or anything, but I'm looking at the waves that are there. And in South Florida or in Florida, I believe this is in Volusia County, they get the rip tides and these currents that'll drag you out and drag you under, and it will kill you. And that may very well have been the case that at this particular date at that beach, it was probably a warning not to even go into the water, because I don't see many people in the water at all. In fact, he's probably the only one that I saw that was headed towards the water. So that leads me to believe that there was danger, and it was a bad idea for him to head towards the water to begin with. So
this started with a fight of some kind, right? It looked like there was something that was happening on some activity. The police run in, we see them pull guns, and obviously the kid pulled a gun on them, and we couldn't really see it, but then he ran into the ocean. Now this was from their vehicle.
Yeah. So based on what I could see there, it looked like he pulled a gun on the other kid that was approaching him.
Okay.
And what he didn't realize is that there was a cop there. And maybe we can't tell what the cop's wearing. So maybe he's undercover. We can't really tell. Because like the cop's like, drop the gun, motherfucker. And the kid's like not even looking at him. So that leads me to believe that he didn't recognize him to be a law enforcement officer. So maybe he's undercover. So, he put the gun on another kid. But basically, he ditched like a bag. He ditched the gun and he ditched the bag or something. And, they're going to show you what they found in that bag. They found some things that he shouldn't have.
Hey, what's that black bag that he dropped in there?
Yeah, black bag.
Wow.
Bingo, we've got action. So
we've got a winner. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, so he's probably a small-time hustler. He's got He's got his products that he's pushing on the beach.
But Mo Money, think about this. This guy's down at the beach selling bagged up turds. I mean, why did he get busted?
He's the dope man for those who can't, make out the image that's on screen. He's the
Just
dope
a
man.
dope.
Yeah.
I thought he was bagging up dog turds from the beach and he was trying to fucking sell them. And
bro, and I'm wondering, he's got a decent amount of stash there. I'm wondering if he's like, man, if the cops don't kill me, whoever's supplying me is going to kill me because I got a lot of his stuff here. So like, what was what do you think he was running through his head when all this is happening?
Like I said, maybe he was gonna go find Jimmy Hoffa and see if he could talk his way out of this bag of shit that he had on him. I don't really know. It's like, first of all, you got that kind of stuff in a bag, you're already pushing your luck. I could see why he pulled the gun and was trying to think like he could get away, but the whole concept of where he got away to, that doesn't click for me.
Yeah, and he's 16 years old. So 16 years old.
Oh, well, he'll get a slap on the wrist. He'll be able to be out later and learn how to, drug deal professionally like he should have.
Wow. Well, there you go. Florida. What you got for us in this next segment, JD?
And the main issue that we run into is it's not just the things that you can see on the beach. It's not just that. It's a good thing we have the police out there kind of watching for them and kind of keeping under control. One thing that we've never been able to really find, we've never been able to really track down, although people have really tried, is Bigfoot. And as you know, the only man who's been able to really get close has been this man.
What?
He's destroying those TVs.
They don't like technology, apparently. This looks very familiar.
$6 million. That's him. The original Stone Cold Steve Austin versus as you'll see, as Bigfoot gets closer, he looks familiar.
Very familiar.
It's Andre the Giant as Bigfoot. Now watch these wrestling moves he's pulling out here. He's throwing them around like a rag doll. Look at Andre jump.
He's gonna shake the shit out of him, bro. Listen to the sound of things. Isn't it like the sound of a plane or arm dropping?
Picking up an entire tree.
Did he just hit this guy with a freaking tree?
No, you can't beat this shit. The 70s TV was the best. Oh, he just ripped his arm right off.
Yeah, but why did the arm explode? Like, that's what I'm like. Why did the arm explode?
Now, what's interesting? When I first, I'm not going to lie. When I first saw this segment here, when I first saw this jumping segment, I didn't know who this was. When I first saw this, I thought this was from the Vince McMahon sex tape.
Listen, the sex tape was probably a reenactment, so it's probably not far off.
Dude, Andre the Giant playing the Bigfoot. Now, for some reason, I had never seen this episode, but I was like, Andre the Giant is the most believable Bigfoot I've ever seen in my life.
Listen, I saw that episode, and I'm dating myself, but I saw that episode, and I never knew it was freaking Andre the Giant. Never knew it. Blew my mind just now. Never knew it. Speaking of blowing your mind, this next clip that we got is a mind blower and a head scratcher. We've always supported the idea of supporting your kids. If you're gonna have kids, you gotta, help them make their way through the world, and give them guidance and sometimes dollars to make their dreams come true. And here's one instance of it, but I think this is an extreme instance.
Fans account. I had this subscriber almost since the beginning. He had spent around 2,000 Australian dollars, bought every single thing that I sent him. An account with the same username had viewed my TikTok profile and it said from your contacts. And my heart just sank into my stomach. I went through all of the contacts in my phone. It has to be my stepdad.
Wow.
So I went out on a limb and messaged the account on OnlyFans and I said, I know who this is. And he responded saying, who? ? Babe, you don't know. And I then hit back pretty quickly and I said, you need to tell her before my sister and I do. And with
Her being your mum.
Yeah, being my mum. And within 2 minutes, I got a text message from my stepdad saying, Tay, you're free to talk.
Uh-oh.
Please, Lord Jesus, save us.
There's so much to unpack here.
Now, I promise this wasn't me. I was not her stepdad. But if I was, I would probably have subscribed as well.
No,
Not gonna lie.
you've put a lot of 20-something-year-olds through college, though. So we'll say that much. But,
Yes, I've tried.
no,
You got to
but
give some back. No money, you got to give some back.
you got to give back. This is like weird, right? Okay, this is weird because on one hand, you wouldn't want this to be reality, and clearly this is the reality. But what's strange to me is that she almost instantly thought of this person being her stepfather. Like, what would make her mind gravitate towards that? Because I'm sure she's got tons and tons of contacts. She's an attractive young woman.
Yeah.
Why would her mind automatically assume that it was the stepfather? Which leads me to believe that maybe there's been some behavior from him that kind of is in alignment with this sort of
There's been some hanky-panky.
Yes, it doesn't make, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm reading into it wrong, but like, why would it automatically go to him?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird situation because, and what's even weirder with this is it's like, I don't know how. So, she claims that she's getting onto, these websites that promote modeling and whatever. There's all these OnlyFans, there's cam sites, there's all these different internet's just loaded with them, right?
Yeah.
How are you really going to keep that, as a secret from people that are close to you? Like, especially because it sounds like, obviously in some of these cases, the websites will block out like regions that you don't want to be. So like if you're going to perform on a campsite, it can block your state or your region. Apparently she didn't do that because the guy, she lived in the same house with the guy for a long period of time. Now, I think this is after she'd moved out from what I know.
Okay.
And was living on her own, but even so, they lived in what sounded like kind of the same area. But apparently this guy was able to somehow find out that she was doing this anyway, which seems strange if she wasn't kind of promoting it, right?
Yeah, and you gotta kind of wonder like what she was doing before OnlyFans. Maybe she was, a dancer. Like I don't know her story. I don't know her, but like he found her. How did he find her? And why did her mind so quickly drift to it being her stepfather? It's weird. That's weird.
Very weird. And it sounded like, as she listened to the call, to the messages or whatever, there were some specifics in there that seemed kind of fishy to her. So then she ended up looking through her contacts, and it somehow, I don't know if the platform, I don't know anything about OnlyFans as the platform, but it must have somehow showed that the contact was coming from a number that she already had connected, kind of like maybe like Snapchat or something where it's able to pull your contacts and see if there's, I'm not sure, but for some reason, as soon as she saw the contact, she knew exactly whose number it was. And then, of course, she stings the guy. The weird part about this, and obviously, I mean, I look at it from a moral aspect and not necessarily a legal aspect. Obviously, the guy didn't do anything illegal at this point. This isn't actually his daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's an adult now, right? So this guy has some sort of feelings towards her in a certain way. Is it creepy? Sure. But she almost makes it sound like, like this guy's like the worst guy that ever lived. And it's like, he was literally giving her all this money on her OnlyFans. It's weird to me, right? It's like,
it is. I don't know what's more unfortunate, the fact that her stepfather subscribed to her OnlyFans page, or the fact that he was clearly probably the biggest contributor to the page. So now she's going to be out of that money. She's like, he's her biggest fan,
Yeah, and what's weird about it now is that technically everything he did wasn't illegal at this point,
No.
right? This would have been a different story if it had been like, oh yeah, when I was a kid, he was doing all this stuff. But she never says. I watched some other clips with her before, and she never says anything like the guy was a creep to her when she was younger or anything. This is
No.
now a woman who's an adult. Yeah, they had this relationship where he was married to her mom. But yeah, it's just a weird thing. Yeah, I don't really condone what the guy's doing, but at the same point, it's like they kind of demonized him on some of the clips, like he's the worst guy that ever lived. And it's like, well, maybe he was always attracted to her, and now she's an adult. It's just
Yeah.
when you're going to put yourself out there on sites like that, you're going to do that kind of work. You're going to have to live with what comes with it. Like I hate when they kind of paint this woman as she was victimized. She wasn't victimized at all. This guy was an
No.
adult, happened to be her stepdad, and he paid her a shit ton of money.
Yeah, she was providing a service, and he didn't mind paying for it. I'm
Yeah.
kind of wondering though, like, what's the payoff of like, having him to basically confess to her mother, because like that's going to ruin a marriage. And he didn't sleep with her, he didn't touch
Yeah.
her. He just, he was naughty and he was peeking, which he shouldn't do. But like, is that something that should cause like, his marriage to end? I'm not so sure about that part.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of what I'm saying. Like she's putting herself on the internet in a sexual way, and she's an adult now, and he's an adult, and maybe he has an attraction to her. Maybe she looks similar to her mom too, right? Like there's a lot of similar like if you sometimes when you see like these women and you see their mom, like they could be 30 years old, but you see their mom that's 50 or 60, and you can see how close they looked, right? Like sometimes when they're younger. So it's like, obviously he's attracted to her mom, so
Yeah.
you know.
Well, we'll see if there's any follow up to this one, but I
Bizarre
don't know.
story, and the fact that she busted him even more bizarre, and yeah, I suppose she's going to have to talk about it, but I mean, it's like, yeah, I don't think the guy should like be in any kind of real trouble for this. I mean, he did something that was morally creepy, but nothing illegal that I could tell.
Yeah, it wasn't criminal. We'll see. But you know
Well,
what? OnlyFans has a way of bringing out things in people.
it does, and sometimes it's a real free for all. Perfect segue for the story about OnlyFans. Just happened to be stumbling through some websites the other day talking about earnings of various entertainers, and strangely enough, there was a lot of streamers on there. There was a lot of Twitch and new now Kick streamers, people like Aiden Ross, social influencers, and then they brought up somebody like Bad Bobby, who was actually known as the Cash Me Outside girl from the Dr. Phil show.
Yeah.
Apparently, yeah, she's become of age and she went to OnlyFans at the age of 18. Within the first year on OnlyFans, she had made something in the ballpark of like $63 million.
Good God. Yeah. I remember her. She was on there. Oh God, she was on there, and she was on the show with Dr. Phil and her mom, and she was just like mad disrespectful to her mom. And Dr. Phil is trying to check her, and then you know how the audience starts chiming in, and they're trying to check her, and she's like, catch me outside. How about that?
Cash Me Outside. How about
Yeah,
that?
I think that's Bad Baby or something is
Yeah,
her
yeah, yeah.
name.
Bad Bobby, Bad Baby, whatever she wants to call herself.
Yeah,
Yeah, she was like one of the worst kids I'd ever seen on Dr. Phil, just like a scumbag, right? Like
yeah,
treated her mom like garbage. Her mom was kind of complacent with it, so her mom had a lot to blame with it, but she was just terrible, right? And then I actually, after the Dr. Phil episode, she actually went back because they got her into some sort of like counseling ranch where she goes to, they go to some like boot camp where they beat the hell out of her or something to try to get her back on track where she's supposed to be. And then she tried to like sue Dr. Phil or something, or the place that she was at, because somebody died when they were there and she was affected by that. That was the last I heard about it. And then all of a sudden I had seen this earnings list where they happened to be talking about OnlyFans, and some of these women were making tens of millions of dollars a month. And yeah, crazy.
I'm all for a person earning a living. I'm not a prude or anything like that. I just think that the issue that I have with this particular instance is that she was on the show because she was doing terrible things. And then she goes on to basically become rich and, I won't say famous, but infamous.
Yeah.
And I think it's everything that's wrong with social media where someone like this can become almost like a folk hero and become rich. And for all the wrong reasons.
Completely. Yeah. I mean, and she kind of got into music right away. It was kind of her first thing. She was kind of getting into the rap game.
Yeah, she was a
And
rapper.
yeah, yeah, totally. So she was like, I think she was maybe 17-ish, 18. She was basically doing music and getting some attention. And then it sounded like as soon as she turned 18, she went to OnlyFans, and probably the rap and the music stuff after the Dr. Phil stuff just kind of gave her enough attention that people were just kind of biding their time. Kind of like the last woman, that woman's stepdad was waiting till she turned 18 and got on
Yeah.
OnlyFans, and then he subscribed to her OnlyFans. They basically waited till she turned 18. She got on OnlyFans, and they paid her millions and millions of dollars.
I think this speaks to just how prevalent and how easy, pornography is to find. You know, I have, you know, I've checked out pornography in my lifetime. I'm not a prude, so I'm not going to sit here and bash anyone for checking out pornographic material. But
Yeah,
I think we become so desensitized to it. It used to be this whole thing where you wanted to see like these really hot chicks that you knew you
yeah,
could never score
yeah.
on
Something
your own.
exotic, something that you
Yeah,
couldn't see in your neighborhood, something you'd never had a chance to get or be with. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, but it's changed now. Now it's like, let's see, like a librarian. Let's see some
yeah.
person that
A
we
teacher.
otherwise, yeah, someone we otherwise would not have access to like that. Let's see them, and it sells. People want something that they're otherwise not going to see, and sometimes it's just a regular looking person, or maybe it's just to see a person like this that you saw on TV and get a peek under the hood. Whatever it is, people are spending the money because I'm looking at these numbers in April 2021. She's at over $18 million.
Insane, insane, and that was 1 month. So that's actually a monthly breakdown where like November she only came on, like originally started, was up into 833,000. October it broke a million, and it stayed up a million. And I think if I remember the rest of the report, it stayed over $1 million+ for the remainder of that year. And then when they got into 2022, she was doing the same thing. It was like $3 to $5 million a month regularly for another whole year. And to your point, it's like we're men. There's two things that we can't break addiction from. It's sex and food.
Yeah, especially
You
food.
biologically, yeah, yeah, no kidding, man. You're biologically programmed for sex. You're going to be interested, like, and obviously this isn't the same for people who are, interested in the same sex. But I've always been interested in women. I can't break. I can't. I think men get demonized because we have these sexual attractions to women. It's not something we can get rid of. At least I can't.
No, no. I mean, we're built that way. It's in our
Yeah,
DNA. We're built to be attracted to women, just as women are just as attracted to men. And there's an industry behind all of it, and it makes tons of money. And this is what we see here. I gotta imagine that those numbers have fallen off because after she's been on for so long, I gotta believe that the novelty is worn off and she's not drawing as much income.
I would assume so, and I think exactly the same thing happens where it's always the fresh face of the week, right? So
Yeah.
she was big news. She made all these big things. She grew up quickly. She obviously developed, as she got 18. Whether she's natural or not, she clearly has the right assets for that industry. But yeah, clearly probably had a couple year run where she's making millions of dollars, and then she probably just dropped off and is doing whatever she's doing now. What's crazy to me with the prevalence of the internet and the availability for this kind of content on the internet, why are people paying so much money for some of these things? But I think we've kind of hit on the new age where everything's so trendy that I think the younger generations now see it as it's more of a trend to go on and pay these people money than it is just to see somebody else that's nude.
I, I think people in general are just curious. They're curious about things that, again, that they don't typically have access to. And if you could go online and just find porn, like we can do, again, the hot chick, you know, doesn't do it anymore because every chick is hot.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's going to
yeah,
be some
true.
sort of there's a fetish to it. There's got to be something to it now that will keep someone's attention. And you know, porn addiction is a real thing too. There are a number of folks that are addicted to porn, and it, like any drug or any high, you're always looking for that fix that's like the first time, and you're always in constant search of it. So maybe this is the new fix: a regular looking person, um, getting a chance to see them in an intimate setting that you typically would not be able to gain access to them, you know?
It's been wild. It's been wild seeing all these people that were working as teachers or working as plumbers or whatever the hell they were doing. Next thing you know, they're on OnlyFans. The next thing you know, they're making anywhere from $50,000 to $400,000 a month to millions of dollars a month. It's just not something we've really seen in our lifetime before. And it's bizarre. It's almost as bizarre as when you're watching any kind of video online and you constantly get plagued by the most ridiculous vampire games, nuclear bomb games,
I know
bombs with
where
water
you're going
dripping on
with this,
people.
JD. I know where you're going, and this is a pet peeve of mine. If you watch YouTube or platforms like that as often as I do, you have to have run across or come across these video game promos, and it's always some
Yes.
game. It's like a strategy game. You're kind of like on this path that you can't do anything but move forward, and like there's a zombie or some army or something
Zombie apocalypse.
that's approaching you, and you keep shooting this basic gun, and you work your way up till you get a better gun, and the thing is there's a strategy to it, and it seems to me that every time I watch these demos, the person who's playing is an idiot because they always choose the wrong thing. Like, yeah, it's like it's math. It's like one option will multiply them by 2, and the other one will subtract by like 3. And somehow they always gravitate towards the one that's hurting them. And at the end of this course, there's always like an ogre or something waiting that kills them because they've done so many stupid things. Now, is it just me, or are you running into these ads too?
No, I see them all the time, and I also see my favorite part is to have some flunky B level like third brother, like Jerry O'Connell's third lost brother, like Tim O'Connell or someone. He's advertising for the game and talking about how high he's made it in the game and how many stats and rewards they give him, and up to the point where they'll actually pay some of our childhood heroes. Like Arnie has been in a couple of these commercials talking about, we must crush our enemies and see them driven before you. It's just it's wild.
It is, and I was told by my son, who is a gamer, that in a lot of instances it's kind of a bait and switch. Like when you try to subscribe to gain access to the game that they're showing, you can't access it. It's like a bait and switch, or maybe even a scam. So I don't know what I'm more disgusted by: the fact that it's a scam, or the fact that the person playing the game just keeps doing stupid shit.
And that's probably part of the psychological effect where they want you to download it so you can be better than the guy because he's so shitty at when you're watching him play the game. Like I could beat those zombies better than this guy with this spiked baseball bat.
Wow. Well, I think I'd be better off starting OnlyFans than to play one of these damn games, JD.
Give me both. Hell, I'm going to go watch OnlyFans instead of playing this game because at least I'm going to get some entertainment out of it.
There you go, brother. I think that just about wraps it up for today. What do you got?
Indeed, we are done with another episode of Basement Brothers number 7. We are rolling ourselves into the weekend, and we're going to have another great one. I'm going to sleep in and sit around and eat vast amounts of terrible quality food.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I am, as soon as I get off of this, I am going to grab large quantities of really horrible food, and I'm going to enjoy it.
It's all we can do, man. Do that, and like I said, get on the internet and buy your OnlyFans subscriptions.
Yes, indeed.
Tell everybody.
When you're done spending money on OnlyFans, make sure you check us out too.
Like and subscribe. We will be back.
Yes, indeed.